Have you ever had a Pokemon evolve and when it does, you're just like, ew? I think every Pokemon fan has had at least one of these moments, and I have as well, which is why I've made a couple videos fairly recently where I've created new evolutions for Pokemon I don't like, to try and show what's truly possible for the evolutions of these Pokemon, and try and fix some of the issues that I personally have with their official evolutions. These videos were a lot of fun, which is why we're here to do it again today. We're going to be creating 3 brand new evolutions for some evolved Pokemon that aren't the greatest in my opinion, and try and create a new Pokemon in their place that is much more enjoyable. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so first things first, the artist of today's video is Alestiva076. He drew the actual artwork in these videos while I created the concepts, so be sure to check him out on Twitter and Instagram or with the link in the description, because he is definitely worth a follow. Getting into the Pokemon though, the first one we're going to be covering today is Crabominable. I despise Crabominable because it is insanely ugly, and I know I'm not alone in that opinion either. Its ugly design is made even worse by its typing, which is ice fighting. At the time Crabominable was introduced, it was the first ever ice fighting type, and is still the only one to this day. Since this is such a cool type combo, it just made the fact that it's so ugly even worse because it completely botched the potential of an ice fighting type. The reason why it looks the way it does in the first place is because it's based on a Yeti crab, so it's literally an amalgamation of a Yeti and a crab, which is a creative play on words, but in my opinion, it still could have looked so much better, which is why I wanted to take a crack at creating a brand new evolution for Crabrawler, who is a cool Pokemon in its own right, which again just makes Crabominable even worse in my opinion. So with all of that in mind, meet Fantussle. As opposed to a Yeti crab, Fantussle is based on a ghost crab and is a fighting ghost type instead of fighting ice. So we basically took all the potential for a Yeti crab hybrid and instead we based it around a ghost crab, because not only does that allow for a fighting ghost type, which is a really cool type combo, but it also allows for a cool backstory. Because the concept behind this Pokemon is that as a Crabrawler, it got involved in a fight where it was a little too in over its head, and well, it died. But its pure fighting spirit allowed it to live on as Fantussle. This could also be a Pokemon that possibly could use that often discussed evolution method where the Pokemon has to faint in order to evolve, and while I don't know if that will ever be a thing for real, it is a really cool concept and would work perfectly with Fantussle's concept and design. You can also see in its design how it's been beaten up with its big black eye, but it's still raring to go as you can tell. Its name comes from Phantom and Tussle, and if I were to give it an ability, I'd probably have to go with Aftermath, since fighting from the grave is kind of its entire MO. So overall, that's my proposal for an alternate Crabrawler evolution, and in comparison to Crabominable, I think we made out pretty good. The next Pokemon that is in our sights is Magmortar. Magmortar is infamously despised because, well, it looks really dumb. And while I wouldn't say I despise it as much as some other people, I can still say for myself that it looks really dumb. So Magmortar was naturally a prime candidate to be replaced in a video like this, but it's a little trickier than the other Pokemon we've done because it's also evolving from a goofy Pokemon. I mean, heck, Magmar has a butt on its head. Its Japanese name is Boober. It has a duck face. That is a handful to work with, and with all that in mind, this is what Alestiva and I landed on for an alternate Magmar evolution. The biggest challenge with this one was to make it look not goofy, because the derpiness of Magmortar is why people kinda hate it in the first place. But as I mentioned, when Magmar is what you have to work with as a pre-evolution, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. The biggest issue with this design in terms of the goofiness was the duck face, which is why I ultimately decided to replace the duck bill with a snout in this evolution, which I thought wasn't too unreasonable considering that Magmar is also kind of part dragon as well, so I just leaned on those elements of its design a little bit more. We also made its body a little more macho looking compared to the rumbly-tumbly physique of Magmortar, and because it's just that edgy, it's also drooling lava, because this thing is a volcanic beast. You could still call it Magmortar because it still has the cannon arms, which are based on actual mortars, and those are cool, so we didn't really want to replace those. So overall, this is less of a whole new Pokemon and more of a reinterpretation of what Magmortar is, and even though it was a challenge, I think we did a pretty solid job of making it look a little cooler. And to finish off this trio of terrible evolutions, we have Aromatisse. Now, I used to hate Aromatisse, but after doing some research on its design, which I discussed in this video, I actually gained a bit of respect for it, because in terms of its overall concept and the multiple layers that are contributing to its design, it works really well. But visually speaking, this Pokemon is ugly as heck. It really is a huge disappointment because it's a Pokemon that's based on a Plague Doctor. Like, honestly, how can you screw that up? And its pre-evolution Spritzy is adorable and awesome, so when they made Aromatisse, they truly botched an insane amount of potential. The main issue is, as I said, that Aromatisse is just ugly, and a big part of that is also that it incorporates can-can dancers into its design as well. This seems really random given the Plague Doctor inspiration that's also there, and even though it's actually not, as once again I explained in this video, it still does not work at all from a visual perspective. So in my redesign, I threw all that out and really focused in on the Plague Doctor inspiration in particular, because that's obviously the coolest part about this Pokemon, and that is what gave us Metacrow. Metacrow really embraces the Plague Doctor element that began with Spritzy, so much so that it becomes Fairy Poison type, referencing the plagues that these doctors attempted to cure. The design, in my opinion anyway, is much more pleasant to look at than Aromatisse and has a lot of mystique to it brought on by the Plague Doctor element that really helps to make this Pokemon be much more interesting than Aromatisse ever was. Again, all in my own opinion, in case you're a hardcore Aromatisse fan. The Fairy Poison type combo also adds to the intrigue of this design a lot, because not only is it unique, but also because it embraces this Pokemon's inspiration. The ability also does this as well, as I have created a new ability for Metacrow called Physician. This ability would make it so Metacrow would be the only Pokemon on the battlefield that would be able to poison another Pokemon, which would be great for double battles. You might think with a name like Physician that it should be the opposite, and it should be curing the poison. But the reason why it's not is because Plague Doctors didn't really cure people that often, because most of them weren't even actual doctors, and mostly just served to record the death toll of a local area, meaning that their presence was a signal for death. And I think a cool custom ability like this that references that would be really cool. The name Metacrow also comes from medic and crow, and when put together sounds like medical. And even though its body is more like a flamingo, it's got the dark coloration of a crow, and it's still a bird, so I think that that can work. And with Metacrow in particular, I think I can safely say that we would have been a lot better off if we would have got something like this for a Spritzy evolution instead of Aromatisse. So there you have it. These are my 3 alternate evolutions for Crabrawler, Magmar, and Spritzy that could replace Crabominable, Magmortar, and Aromatisse. What do you think about these designs though? Do you like them better than the official designs? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you're new for more. You can also support the channel if you would like by listening to my Pokemon remixes on Spotify, which really supports the channel a ton, and it's extremely appreciated if you do so as well. With that said, I'll be back with another video very soon, and until then, as always, thanks for watching, I love you guys very much, and I will smell you guys later.